Welcome back to the deep dive. So our mission today, it's pretty straightforward. We're diving into that feeling, the one where you're just drowning in digital admin. If your inbox feels like this black hole, just endless, or you're getting like digital version of millions of letters every single day, and there's just no time, right? No time to read them, sort them, definitely not reply. Well, this deep dive is for you. It's kind of an intervention.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to make this hopefully really easy to grasp. We're using this great little story, the tale of Rabbit Gmail, Wizard N8N, and Clever Cat GPT. Think of it as your shortcut. It's designed to perfectly explain how these, well, sometimes complex automation tools like N8N actually work. By the end of this, you should really have a solid picture, a blueprint for setting up your own automations.
Okay, sounds good. So let's set the scene. Who are the players here, and what's the big problem we're solving? Our main character, apparently, is Rabbit Gmail. And the source material paints this picture, right? He lives in this nice village, sure, but next door, there's this huge storage building, just overflowing, completely stuffed with mail he hasn't read, fan mail, job stuff, just noise. It's a perfect metaphor, really, for that inbox paralysis.
Inbox paralysis, that's a good way to put it. His work has just ground to a halt. And the problem is delegation, right? He can't possibly hire enough people to sort through it all. So what does he do? He heads up the mountain to Castle N8N, and that's where the Wizard N8N lives. The wizard is our master of ceremonies, the coordinator.
Okay, so the Wizard N8N,
Yeah.
he's the system itself.
He represents the system, yeah. N8N the tool. His magic isn't about doing the tasks like reading the mail himself. No, his skill is coordination, making sure the right players are connected at exactly the right time. Purely organizational magic.
Gotcha. And the wizard, he knows someone who can actually handle the reading and writing part.
Oh, absolutely. The Wizard N8N knows this character called Clever Cat GPT, which, technically speaking, that's your OpenAI, your GPT engine. The cat is pure processing power. And the wizard explains right away, this cat is super intelligent. It can read, it can summarize, it can draft these amazing, coherent replies in just seconds.
Okay, but here's the bit from the source that really jumped out at me. It's kind of wild. This Clever Cat GPT. It does all this amazing writing, perfect summaries, tailored responses, but it doesn't actually understand anything it's reading, not a single word.
Exactly. And that is such a crucial insight if you're thinking about automation. We're separating the task, the execution, from actual comprehension. It's fascinating because, we humans equate reading and responding with intelligence, with understanding. But here, we've delegated it to a system that's just running on pattern matching, probability, not real understanding.
So the big takeaway isn't just, wow, AI is powerful. It's more about, by using N8N as the coordinator, we've offloaded these repetitive admin tasks to a tool that functions perfectly well without needing empathy or real knowledge.
Precisely. And what does that free up for the user, for Rabbit Gmail in our story? It frees up time for the human stuff. Strategic thinking, making decisions, designing the process. The user shifts from being the one doing the repetitive answering to being the one who designs the answering machine. It's subtle, but it changes everything.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So let's get into the nuts and bolts then, the setup. Before the Wizard N8N can actually connect the Rabbit Gmail to the cat, GPT, he needs to set the rules. What are the essential things he needs before any magic happens?
Right, there are two key things. We can think of them as access rights and the plan, the operational model. So first, access. The wizard needs what the story calls the golden key. This is your API key or your credentials. Absolutely vital. It's what lets the wizard, N8N, securely get into Rabbit Gmail's mail storage. And it's also how he brings the Clever Cat's tools, its computers, into the castle environment.
Okay, this golden key. Is it just like handing over your main password? Because, people listening will be thinking about security here. Are we giving the wizard access to everything or just a specific part, like only the mailbox?
That's a really important question. And with modern tools like N8N, it's usually more sophisticated than just a password. Often it uses something like OAuth, which means the golden key isn't usually unlimited access. No, you configure it. You give it a limited scope. So you might only grant the wizard permission to, say, read new messages and save drafts, not access your whole Google Drive or delete things.
Oh, okay.
This controlled access, these defined scopes, that's the technical reality behind the simple idea of handing over a key.
Right, that limited scope thing is crucial. It tells you it's not this huge security hole. It's a specific controlled permission just for this one job.
Exactly. So once the wizard has the keys he needs and he's checked they only open the right doors, he needs the second piece, The place and the plan for the work. This is the workflow.
The workflow. So
Yeah.
he's got the keys. Now he needs the workshop, basically.
Yeah.
The technical model in N8N.
Correct. The story calls it the new workflow laboratory, and I love the description they use, like a giant Monopoly or Ludo board laid out inside Castle N8N. It's that visual canvas. When you open N8N and start a new workflow, you're looking at this blank board, and you plot out how the information moves. That visual part is what makes these tools different from just writing code, you know? It helps you see the sequence.
How does thinking of it like a game board actually help, though? More than just like writing script.
Well, it forces you to think sequentially, step by step.
Right.
In code, sometimes it's easy to lose track, like which bit of data goes where. On the N8N board, you literally drag these blocks, our characters, the nodes and draw lines, connecting them. If you try to skip a step, like connect the rabbit's mail directly to the output without the cat processing it, the visual gap makes it obvious. It's like an assembly line. The flow has to connect logically.
Okay, the stage is set, keys secured, permissions sorted, game board ready. The wizard says, let the game begin, and he directs everyone. These moves are the nodes, the action blocks, like stations on that assembly line idea.
Yep. And there are basically three main turns, or three nodes, that make up this whole loop. You've got your input, your processing, and your output.
Let's really zero in on that first turn. The start, the trigger, you call it.
Right. The wizard points to Rabbit Gmail and says, okay, step up, put all the new letters into this first action block. This first block is special. Its job is to listen for incoming data. Technically, this is usually your starting Gmail node. And you set it up either to grab a bunch of messages when you manually run it, or, more powerfully, you set it as a trigger. It just waits for a new email to land. Then the whole thing kicks off.
So wait, this first node, it's different from the others then? Because it's not doing something immediately, it's just waiting.
That's the perfect way to think about it, technically. Most nodes are actions. They do something when data hits them. But often, that very first node is a trigger. It sits there waiting for the condition like new email arrives. It's the starting pistol for the whole race. Once it fires, boom, the email content starts flowing down the line you've built.
Okay, and that flowing data takes us straight to turn number 2, the magic processing part.
Absolutely. The wizard waves over Clever Cat GPT to the second block. The cat's job is purely processing. Take the text from node 1, figure out what it's about, maybe summarize it, and then generate that draft response based on whatever rules you gave it, like be polite, keep it short.
And technically that means drawing that line, connecting the first Gmail trigger node right to the OpenAI node.
Yes, that connection line is everything. It tells N8N, okay, the stuff that came out of step 1, that email text, that's now the input for step 2 for the AI. N8N handles passing that data along seamlessly. That's where the heavy lifting, the computation happens. And thanks to the cat, it's basically instant.
Right. So the cat does its super fast writing, generates this perfect draft. Now we need turn 3, delivery. We've got the reply, but it needs to get back into the rabbit system somehow.
Correct. So the Wizard N8N takes that finished text from the cat, and he uses the rabbit's golden key again, remember the secure access, and he uses it to go back into the mail system and puts that reply into the rabbit's drafts folder.
Okay, hold on. This is a key technical point, right? Why a second Gmail node? Why can't we just reuse the first one that got the email? Why does the assembly line need, like, a whole separate station for sending?
Great question. Because the job is totally different. That first Gmail node, its job was input or trigger. It fetched data. This third step needs an output node, an action node. It needs to perform a task, like saving or sending. You can't really configure one single node to both listen for new mail and send replies or save drafts. They have different functions. So you need that second separate Gmail node, and you specifically configure it as an action, save to drafts, or maybe even reply to message.
Got it. So separating the jobs, input node, action node, that's fundamental to designing these workflows properly in N8N. It's not just connecting things, it's using the right type of connector for each specific task.
Exactly right. That action node takes the data the cat produced and does the final step, completing the journey from raw email to drafted reply.
Okay, this is where it really clicks, I think. You got the nodes connected, the logic is set, the keys are in place, and then the workflow is activated. What's the Wizard N8N doing now? Is he still directing traffic?
Well, yes and no. Once it's activated, the Wizard N8N becomes this sort of perpetual invisible coordinator. The workflow just runs based on the rules you set. It executes automatically every single time that trigger condition happens, like every time a new email hits Rabbit Gmail's inbox. N8N handles passing the data from rabbit to cat, gets the result, files it all without anyone lifting a finger.
Wow. I mean, just think about the time saved. Rabbit Gmail was Barry is spending days on this. Now with N8N coordinating, it's happening instantly at machine speed.
And that is the direct relevance for you listening right now. Whether it's sales leads coming in, customer support tickets, maybe just personal emails you need to triage, N8N, the wizard, lets you set it up visually. You drag the input node, Gmail 1, connect it to the processing, OpenAI, connect that to the delivery, Gmail 2, and suddenly you've basically outsourced that entire chunk of manual work. Your hands are free.
That clarity. Taking something that feels super complex, like juggling multiple apps and steps, and boiling it down to 3 logical blocks on a game board. That's really powerful. It shows how relatively easy setting up these complex chains can be if you have the right coordinator, like N8N, handling the data flow and the security.
And it brings us back to that really interesting point from the source material, that core insight about the Clever Cat. It raises a question for you to think about. If Clever Cat GPT can write these amazing responses, summarize perfectly, handle millions of letters, all without understanding any of it, what does that really imply about the kinds of tasks you could automate in your own work, your own life? The bottleneck for scaling complex, text-heavy admin work. It might not be human time or even comprehension anymore. Maybe it's just down to how creatively you can design that sequence on the N8N game board. What else could the cat handle if the wizard sets it up right?